One more match to go tonight for APAC South Playday 2. As I said before the break, it's the Aussie Brawl coming up. Wildcard versus Order, and I'm sure it's going to be very exciting. In fact, I think these two teams might be playing each other in OCN as well, guys, this week.
Yeah, I think they may well be, and it is shaped up to be a bit of a barn burner. I guess Wildcard is still trying to work out exactly where they position themselves in this league. Still a lot of growing pains for them with Milo jumping in as of recent. And I mean, even Order, honestly, they're having their own growing pains at the moment, and we're really trying to, I guess, narrow down where they position themselves in this league. So a bit of a feeler for both of these teams who have been off to a little bit of a slow start.
Yeah, it's rough, but look, you look at Wildcard on paper, they should be doing a little bit better than they are. It may be a case of they're still taking a little bit of time to get themselves warmed up, but on paper, this is probably one of the scarier rosters coming out of ANZ. It's unfortunately they just haven't found that for themselves.
Yeah, and I think that for me, Molosca coming in doesn't necessarily fix things overall, right? Immediately. It'll take a bit of time. It's your mate, by the way, Guz. Ultimately, for Wildcard, they are still a team that you do want to respect and fear. For Order, if they're even just 5 to 10% off, this team is still very much capable. But yeah, it's going to take a bit of time to see them flourish to where they used to be. Their opponents, of course, for tonight is Order, which is just, for them, it is all 95% mental, as we've sort of maybe beaten that one to death. But it's also true, guys. This is the reason why we bring it up all the time. It is true. This team is so inconsistent. It's been mentioned even by Specker. We've had their interviews. They just have to get over this inconsistency bump. Once they do that, well, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, it's just about unlocking this potential that we know that these players have. Nico as well jumping on as of recent. They are just all in their own right fantastic players. We see in almost every Playday, whether it be an APAC or OCN, whatever it may be, at least one of these players is going to have a highlight play. There's just no doubt about it. They can show up when required. It is just, again, the matter of reducing the amount of mistakes that they make and not allowing their opponents to capitalize upon those shortcomings. So, not sure what Order's going to rock up today. That really is the question, I guess, that needs to be answered.
Yeah, Order has also historically been sort of a roster that thrives on adversity. The more they're doubted, the more that, the fans are cheering for their opponents, the bigger they tend to come out of the gate. So coming in with this new roster, obviously Nate stepping up to main, Joker stepping away, plus Nico replacing Itby. Again, this is a roster that looks very, very solid on paper. They're having those. Unfortunately, the honeymoon period hasn't quite hit the way they would like to. They need to bring it together because, again, on paper, they should be a very scary roster.
I think they are a scary roster, and I don't think there's many who doubt them so much. It's more so, I think, than anything with Order. Honestly, they as a team just can't quite get over the hurdles themselves, and therefore, you don't really then back them in, say, for top 2 positions. I still would have them in my top 4 calculations. They're just a bit of an outside chance at that. Let's go and have a look at the vetoes for this game. I do sense it's not going to be Coastline. I've already seen the script. I'm just kidding. It's going to be Clubhouse this game. So we are finally off the sunny coast. You're looking like a tomato at the moment, guys, without that sunscreen. But hey, at least you can go inside now.
Yeah, again, we have to touch on this. We touch on it every single time. Oregon, the biggest meme in the Order department. They are the ones that banned that out. Villa was almost making it through there, which actually, funnily enough, is pretty balanced for both of these teams, but Wildcard not wanting to take that risk. I guess Clubhouse is a much more neutral territory. Frequently played in APAC South, frequently played in OCN. Both of these teams should have a decent gauge as to how their opponents are going to approach this map. As looking at the raw numbers as to what we can try to expect, again, quite even. Wildcard, it's important to remember that their form guide is honestly just in the bin after stage 1. I don't think we should put too much emphasis on those results, as Stylix, their team manager, was playing for the roster. So again, not much to read into this matchup. That said, both teams will know exactly what to expect heading into this one.
Yeah, look, it's clear. I've spent the majority of the day doing all my work, getting my notes together, and it looks like maybe Wildcard have come to the same conclusion I have. Xenox does not like Villa. I made sure to have that one written down. They don't want to go there. You're not going to have to deal with it this week, so at least you've got that working for you.
Look, I don't mind Villa as long as I'm not casting.
You're not casting it, yeah.
It doesn't really bother me. They can go there on the map. I actually like watching Villa. I'm just, don't really like casting.
You just don't know the map? Is that the issue?
No, I know the map. I do know the map. I know the map quite well. Either way, it is going to be fascinating to see these two teams battle it out on Clubhouse. A bit more structure, I guess, Guz, compared to Coastline.
Yeah, this is going to feel like we're playing Siege in slow motion based off the first 3 matches tonight, where on a lot of the rounds, we were a minute and a half in and half the lobby was dead. On Clubhouse, not going to be the same case. More than often, it's going to be a minute left, 10 players on the server, a lot of util dumping occurring. A lot of more emphasis on hard breach, which you don't see at all, basically, on coastline. So going to be a very stark contrast in playstyle for us and for the viewers. But again, both these teams haven't played tonight, so it's indifferent to them. But as you mentioned, it will definitely be more structured.
Yeah, no, honestly, the biggest question on my mind is it's not really a case of, you know, who's going to beat who. It's who's going to beat their own demons tonight and come out on top, because both teams have found their struggles largely due to their own hand in some of these situations. So it's who can come out and deal with those the quickest and get on top this early on in the map.
I mean, final thoughts here, final predictions, I guess. Everyone on the analyst desk, or the caster stack, has gone for Order in this case, except for one. It is Manic. He's gone for Wildcard. He is a bit of a wildcard himself. Guz, do you give any credence to that, or do you think he's a one man's army or something? I don't know what he is, but he's by himself.
Oh, well, yeah, Manic's used to being a bit of a loner, so I guess that's okay. I think when I first looked at this matchup, and even the matchup for OCN, I actually penciled in Wildcard. And I thought that picking Order was actually going to be the fun pick that not many other people were going to do. So I don't know if that was everyone's logic heading into this one, but it is one of those matches. I think Panda's done a great job in sort of summarizing it. Who makes the least mistakes and lets the pressure get to them the least? I don't think it's necessarily going to be, you know, the greatest game of Siege ever played. It's just going to be which can get over their own demons, and I do believe that Order might be able to finally connect those dots in this matchup.
Look, personally, I think it's again a case of you got Bailey in the server and another Kiwi. You got to back your boys. I'm going with Order this time, just because you got to back your local. As much as I do love all the teams out of ANZ, Order, they're coming up trumps today. I reckon they've got it in the bag.
I wish we could do that too, but we'd be backing half of APAC South. We're done here. We're going to throw it over to your casters. It is going to be Dev and the other guy.
The other lonely guy. Hey, no matter how lonely I ever am, at least I have a country that's more than 5 people. So, you know, like, that's okay. Poor Panda left by himself and 2 other Siege players and 2 other people that are standing over there. By the way, I'm kidding, New Zealand. I love you, please. Don't
like, you don't even have the conviction to just follow through. You've actually got to save yourself. You're like, no, I don't want the Kiwis to hate me.
No, absolutely not. There is no way I'm having those Kiwis hate me. But it is time to take this on a more serious note, take a little bit of a detour and take it on to what will be Clubhouse Dev, our final match of the night. Both of these teams have had a rocky stage 1 and start to stage 2. It's redemption time for both. And in many ways, could be a new story arc. But we're a long way from there, and we're only in the ban phase to begin with.
That's it now. I think the guys on the desk set the stakes really well here. Wildcard and Order, both great teams that are really, really struggling thanks to, I guess, their roster changes. They haven't quite fully recovered. Wildcard, in theory, should be an upgrade, bringing in Milo instead of Silex, who was coaching, or rather managing and just subbing in. And Order, they've actually switched out one of their top fraggers, Itby, with their former coach, Nico, and brought on their sub, Nate, full-time instead of Joker. The thing is, like, Guz said that he backed Order thinking that would be the fun pick, not the predictable pick. I backed Order thinking they would be the predictable pick because I've put too much faith in Wildcard in the last couple of days and I got burned for it. Wildcard's really struggled in OCN, you know, losing to teams like Bliss and, you know, Rufflecopter as well. So I'm definitely looking at Order to make this their game. Overall, looking at the Clubhouse bans, nothing too crazy. I guess the fact that the mute's gone out, that's kind of the most unusual one. It's just going to make droning a lot easier. If you want to play drone denial, you're definitely going to have to try and lean on that Mozzie, and it's not necessarily going to be easy. The other big difference here is usually you would have either Mav or Thatcher banned, but both have actually slipped through, and this gives a lot of flexibility to the attacking side. The only hard breach or hard breach related ban is actually the Hibana, which just brings impact tricking back into the fray for that basement side. But aside from that, you know, you've got a smorgasbord of operators to choose from, and Wildcard actually opting not to go for that Maverick, going for that Thatcher instead, which is much faster in terms of opening the walls, but you do lose the 2 frags that come along with it, and it tends to also mean that you have to bring in an extra, like it takes an extra operator, right? Because you need 2 hard breaches on this map, plus a way to counter any wall denial, right? So the Maverick actually fills 2 of those roles. It counters the wall denial and it counts as a hard breacher. So you could run, like, say, a Maverick and an Ace as a tandem,
yep,
or a Maverick and a Thermite, but you can't run just like a Thermite and Ace. You need that Thatcher as well.
One thing that we just very quickly saw down in the basement there was the setup of the deployable shield behind Church Wall. I really like that. That is going to make things a lot more complicated for the church opening, if you will. But obviously, you know, leaving that completely soft does allow players a little bit more of an open avenue in. One deployable and 2 Goyos. I think that is a lot for Order to be playing around, and I'm really curious to see how Wildcard are going to kind of forego any issues that we've been seeing recently, because there does become a point where you just can't keep affording them, you know, we're, you know, honeymoon phase, or, you know, we're still waiting to see what happens when they get going, because it does just become do or die. And I think it is at that point now for Wildcard. Maybe another week or two, and we'll have to give it to them. But for now, a matchup against Order, I do think that these two are evenly matched, Dev, I'll be honest. Yeah,
and look, just to keep talking on Wildcard there for a minute, to put it into perspective, Wildcard's kind of fall is very similar to like G2's fall, right? Now, obviously, Wildcard were very dominant within this region, not globally like G2 were, but we're at a point now where Wildcard have been really struggling for quite some time, and they've made a lot of roster changes so that at this point, the Wildcard we look at today has very, very few players that are actually overlap with the really, really dominant Wildcards of the past. Like, Emorin is the only one remaining from that SI 2020 roster.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy to think that as well. And, you know, to be fair, he has stepped up to the plate more often than not, has been one of the highlighted players for Wildcard, even through this I would say rough patch, no doubt. Now, let's move forward and start to isolate. For Wildcard, what this approach is going to look like, and, you know, they're already the pre-prepped holes for that impact trick, Dev. You can see they're not really keen to get involved until they can start putting a little bit of pressure vertically. But it's just so hard. It's so hard to try and find the openings here. Surely that will be the first impact that comes through. No bueno.
Impacts. No, a bit scared off there. It was Nico who had to impact trick. But Wildcard were really, really eagerly watching it. Nice job there to counter the Mozzie Pest, that hacked drone. So Wildcard have made good headway here in terms of opening up that kitchen hatch, but of course, that's only step one. And when it comes down to this actual execution, this is going to be very difficult, especially since Wildcard can't simply place a player down at bottom main stairs, which you would usually want to cut off rotations in the site. Thanks to that shield setup that you mentioned earlier. And now 20 seconds left, they've got to go big.
Yeah, geez, the time is running so thin right now, but Milo is planning. And Emorin's been able to stop the cross from Jack Daddy. They have denied the plan. And now Milo's had to go to Ash. It's reinforced. He just needs cover. He needs Pat to stand strong.
Oh, no.
Milo can't get it down either. Order by the skin of their teeth deny it time and time again. Wildcard will be so disappointed in the end.
That they will. And honestly, I do want to once again reiterate on that hole that we saw from Order with the open church wall and the shield, because it really made things awkward when it came down to Vinny trying to alleviate some of the pressure that the planters were receiving by playing bottom main stairs. He was worried about his own problems. Like, he's coming up against a shield, a fortified defense position, and overall, like, maybe if Wildcard had strong dirt control and they could have really, you know, capitalized and exposed AKs, they would have been fine. But just trying to cover that deep plant spot was just too much for them to handle. And funnily enough, they're actually going to 6-pick off of the Thermite this round and go for the Maverick with the Thatcher as well.
I guess we are moving across to CC, but still that does, I mean, I would have thought the Ace might have been swapped out for the Maverick, but, you know, I don't have the biggest 5-head ever, so that's understandable.
The reason why Ace is good on this site, and, you know, Hibana fills this, but of course she's banned, the other hard breaches can't do this, is you can break the single wall that gets reinforced at the top of rafters that goes into CCTV, so it might be Nico or one of his teammates that's just about to reinforce it right next, this one right here that Nico's reinforcing right now. So if we look from the top-down view, with the breach open, that wall's actually protecting your player at rafters. So if you can get some hard breach onto that wall, it makes it much more difficult to play the rafters position and you can clear it much more effectively. Thank you very much, Mandy. Loving your observing today. But I think it's Mandy.
Yes.
Anyhows, so that's why you want to go the Ace instead of the Thermite. That said, the fact that you've got the Maverick instead of the Thermite, it might counter the Bandit trick nicely, but there's no Bandit here, and it does take a lot longer, and it's a lot more prone to mistakes. So Pat really has to make sure he gets this right.
Well, I mean, Order have not made his job difficult at all. Generally, we'll see, you know, someone with a shotgun just go to absolute town on the wall and make it difficult, but Order just haven't done that whatsoever. They prioritize the speediness of being able to set up, and I guess that just makes Pat's job so easy. Already finding that reinforced wall. Oh my god!
No!
No way.
That was really well played from Emo, but also, like, I don't quite see what Nate was going for there, right? Like, so the old trick way to kind of slow down that Maverick was to throw your gas right up against that wall, and because of the way the smokes used to propagate, it would actually go through the wall. But they patched that in North Star. Smokes will only actually propagate when there is, like, airflow. It can't just go through walls anymore. And Nate should really know that. Unless if I'm missing something here, that really was unnecessary from Nate.
Certainly opened up a whole world to which they're going to need to try to play back from. I believe there was only one smoke bay left, so it's not like an anchor position. Vinny has just sent it through. He's either gone through the window or he's just gone straight through the breach. It doesn't make a difference, because guess what? Wildcard have control of the site, and Order are scrambling to try and get something done, and they will just find at least something, but it's not enough, Dev. Surely not. It's Bailey to try and convert a 1 versus 3.
By all rights, this should be Wildcard's round, unless if Bailey can do something ridiculous. He manages to sneak across, but that position being called out means he's not likely to be able to do much with it. He'll have to find the first kill onto Emo, but Emo lands his shots. Wow, what an explosive round from Wildcard. The goal from Vinny to jump in CCTV window was unbelievable.
Also, like, you know, go back even further than that. Emo peeking through the Maverick. You know, it's just, it's things that, from Wildcard's perspective, it is one of the talking points that we've kind of had since stage 1, which is it felt like they were stuck in the util burn meta where we were really seeing those late round executes, you know, with 30 seconds left, and Wildcard was still, I'm not going to say stuck there, because they're a team that adapts quite well, but it was always seeming to come down to those 5v5s, and they weren't able to convert them. However, in this round, in this instance, they have sped things up significantly, and they've had a much better time. So I do like this from Order, though. Move on. Don't dwell. They're going straight over to gym and bedroom as it goes 1 apiece.
For me, the really exciting thing and the most notable thing we've seen so far is the fact that Wildcard is playing well. Like, they are playing really, really well. I was kind of expecting that maybe if Wildcard did well here, it would be because like Order is playing kind of poorly, but I don't like, yeah, I could nitpick Order, but I think Wildcard is really playing well. I know that's something that they've been wanting to work on, is being a bit more reactive and a bit more, I guess, trustworthy of themselves, and having the confidence to just make those plays like Vinny did, jumping in that window. Like, I was having a chat to Rousty, who's their new coach, and he said that was exactly what he was trying to extract from Vinny and Gio. He said, like, they're great players, but I want to encourage them to just, if they see an opening, take it. Yeah. Because the Wildcard we used to talk about, like this super methodical machine, and the brain of that machine was Diesel. He was like this ultimate hulking support IGL machine, and he was one of the best in the business. Like, his teammates raved about him. But without him, like, you can't just put someone else into that roster, like, and just do that role. Also, times change, and
no way,
Nico!
No way that just
from
happened.
pool window!
No way.
What?
So, for those of you who don't understand what just happened, Nico has peeked from pool window, shot through the fencing into garage that has caught out Emo Rin in between the bikes. That is outrageous.
I want to know if that was calculated. I want to know if he was like looking at the camera, and as soon as the camera got taken down, he hit that pre-fire. Nate's also bombed a C4. Geo's really struggling under pressure at the moment. My God, how things turned around.
Singing the praises of Wildcard and their ability to react and change things up. Now we're seeing a completely different side of this, to which we say Order is just terrifying. Let's be honest. Geo not going to realize there's a player flanking him from behind, so that'll be the free kill for Nate. As it's all but done and dusted here in this round, it would take unbelievable heroics from both Milo and Vinny to open this up. But it's not... It wouldn't be extremely absurd. Both of these players are incredibly sharp, Dev.
Yeah, at this point, Wildcard are just looking for a way back into this round. Ideally a pick here or there. And the way that Order are playing with these defenders peeking downstairs, it's possible. That said, Nate lands a shot. It is a trade, but of course that will favor the team who has the numbers advantage, which is of course Order. Now Vinny's gradually pushing on through. Now you mentioned he's a good player, but doesn't have diffuser, and he's about to walk into a three-way crossfire.
I mean, maybe if Specker overpeaks in the first instance and gives him an isolated one-on-one, things start to snowball a little bit, but really love how Order had the presence of mind not to just go running toward him then. Waited for the moment at which he crosses into no man's land. There's no turning back, and all you can hope for is that you hit some of the most incredible flicks of your life. It doesn't happen. But that really just started all the way back from Nico peeking from pool. Outrageously so, catching Emo. And then once more, the C4s from Order, Deb. This is something that no matter Order's form has stayed true, their C4s are on point.
Yeah, in fact, it was the Order versus Wildcard game last stage. I can't remember whether it was OCN or APAC South. I think it was OCN, actually, where Order just absolutely destroyed Wildcard with the C4s. There was that one triple C4 kill from Cutie, now known as Bailey, which was pretty ridiculous. I think he got a 3K with one round with a C4, and then a 2K the next round. It's like, what do you even say to that? What do you even say?
You just pack it up. You pack it up and close shop, honestly.
Can I just say how gutted I am that I was in the middle of, once again, giving a bit of a history lesson and kind of explaining the trajectory of Wildcard and, the way that they have needed to grow to become who they are right now, moving on from being like a really rigid team. And then, like, Nico just like, stop talking about Wildcard. I'm just going to do the most Nico thing you've ever seen.
That is, isn't it? That is the most Nico thing you've ever seen. I mean, it's poetic in a way. There is some kind of beauty in the eye of the beholder there that kind of twists your cursed words, Dev. I'm just going to leave it on that, as we're now going to see the same setup from Order that we saw previously. The 3 shields that are sitting on site. It's going to allow them to play for that anchor position the second they want to. However, this is what you love to see. Early round, get up in the faces of Wildcards, slow things down, make sure that they do their due diligence. Because guess what? If they don't, you're absolutely cheering. You are in an incredible position up top and just being able to play basically, I guess, as Alpha and Omega, dictator of all. But for now, Wildcard are definitely not really playing into that. They are going to tick every checkbox they need to.
Yeah, they definitely are. They are, as you said, doing their due diligence, going for a map clear. Very early on, they took strip control, which is great for flank watch and watching those rotations coming back downstairs. But Bailey's found this drone. I know he loves that Valkyrie, but Wildcard just bans it prolifically. Like, in fact, that massive C4, I think it was a Pulse we've seen him run in the past. The Mozzie can achieve a similar result. Got that C4 and got a lot of information you can get on those pestered drones. I really like that. I wonder if he's going to try and manage a C4 with that.
I mean, at this point, you really want to keep that drone alive because that's going to give you so much information. It's so vital as well. You think about a site that is as powerful as, as Basement, and the fact that you have to be so methodical as the attack. You need to make sure that you flush out all of the positions deep inside, around Armory, around AK. Without doing that, you are going to be in a lot of trouble. And that drone will allow Order to basically manipulate, and just like this is what I'm talking about. Bailey's going to come from behind when they're not expecting
What is he doing?
It's so much information, Dev. They can absolutely dictate this round now.
Oh my god, how did he get so high up the stairs? And traded, thank god. That's Geo gone down. And he's the player who's going to deny this impact trick by opening up the floor. Emo has no impacts left, and oh my god, it would be so scary to try and get in there and put your breaching charge down. They're just going to drop Hail Mary, see if you can land it. And they do. Emo finds 2 kills. Now it's a 2-on-2. Milo swinging in, and he finds one with the AK, and Emo closes it. Manic, what is this new wild card?
This is something I love to see. Shedding the skin of old and rebirthing yourself in a sense, you know. For many at home, they're probably sitting here watching this going, it's 2-2, guys. Why are you so hype right now? The way Wildcard are playing is unlike something we have seen for a long time. You know, to be truthful with you, Dev, I don't think I've ever seen Wildcard play so flippantly, I think might be a good way of putting it. You know, they are really taking some risks, and by God, it's paying off. Emorin is, I'm going to say it, one of the best players in the region. And when you give him the ability to go off, I am scared. I am scared to see what he achieves, especially if they continue to take this kind of aggression. And the thing is as well, there's a sense of methodical mess to it as well. Leading into that round, they had done everything they needed to do essentially to allow those drops. Dev, it's go time.
Certainly is. Now, there is a way Order can recover from this. Of course, like you said, they're 2-2, but this is defense-favored Nat. We would expect this to go defense-favored. And Wildcard's attacks have been really, really poor since they lost Diesel because they lack that direction that we talked about with, you know, that hunky IGL. And
that
since losing, he was a bit of a hunk.
A hunk of spunk?
On the IGL role. Yeah, he's a bit of a spunk, you know, on the IGL role. But Wildcard, they're carving a new path for themselves, a new identity. And it's pretty amazing. And yeah, like Emo's been a large part of that. If he can find multi-kills like this consistently, it's pretty amazing. As is the fact that Emo is probably like I don't know about age, like actual age, but in terms of like how long he's been playing Siege, like one of the oldest running, the veterans of the Rainbow Six team. Like him, Jack, and Nico all played like the first season of Pro League. And Emo was known to be an insane fragger back then, and he is still known to be an insane fragger now.
Beautiful how things can kind of stay the same, I guess.
Well, he's not washed, which like no joke, so many players get washed after a while. It's not even a meme.
You know what?
It's just like it happens, or people lose their motivation.
I know what it is. It's the keyboard. It's the keyboard.
Ah, the anime keyboard.
It has to be the keyboard.
That's it. So for those who don't know, Emo used to use like a Windows keyboard, like not a mechanical one, like membrane Windows keyboard. And he used to take that to LANs and stuff, and it was just the most ridiculous thing. Like an Office keyboard, the $20 ones that you get free with your like Officeworks PC. and now he's got like a mechanical keyboard, and all of the keys just don't have like any letters or anything on them. It's just anime stuff.
Okay, I'm going to stop you for 2 seconds because anime is great and all, but you want to know what's better than anime? Bailey's C4 that he lines up. This C4, this is the world destroyers. This is like Thanos. It's inevitable. It will find a kill. I played it up
You
so much.
absolutely blew it, bro. You completely blew it. I mean, that, like, if you want to get serious there for a second, that goes to show how important information is to delivering those C4s. Like, Bailey, I don't think actually has a properly tested drone this time around. And obviously, Valkyrie's banned out. They're not going with the pulse like they usually do. And here come Wildcard.
He actually decides to just slow things down as Vinny's watching that moto entrance, so he can afford to drone in this position.
Ooh, the shotgun barrel.
Yeah, this is really scary, Dev. Not a position you'd like to see that shotgun in. Geo, however, got to catch them all. Mate's included in that. And all of a sudden, they have the advantage.
Oh, and this is so well set. All that needs to happen is that Milo needs to bring over the diffuser. Pat, if he had it, would be in a perfect position, but instead he's going to go deep and provide a distraction. And Emo, of course, as he always does, comes from blue. But Order are biting back, and now there's just 2 players left on their side for the retake.
Bailey trying to get into position here, but Emo's just got the angle. Surely, oh no!
Oh no!
The timing!
Oh no!
timing! How does that work out? Bailey now can approach the site with a little bit more Vicar, but Milo trades out. How is this still going? It's Vinny, it's Bailey, back to back. 20 seconds for Bailey to be able to fake this out. Is he going to stick this? Pros don't fake, but maybe Bailey isn't a pro after all as he starts to approach the bottom of main stairs. Surely he has to stick it now. Vinny knows that all he's going to do is apply the pressure. Oh my God.
Doesn't
but
matter.
It's not enough. It's not enough. Vinny plays it perfectly, sees the timing, and utilizes it to perfection. Wildcard come away with an important round.
Very well played there from Vinny in the 1v1. Bailey did his best, but not enough time, and it goes to show that it's not always about winning the end of that, that fight. Sometimes it's just the rounds. My God, this new wildcard is such a treat to witness, Rob.
Very happy to see this. And, on the other side of the coin, Order aren't making the same kind of mistakes that we have seen leading up to this. It does feel like Order have tidied things up as well. They're not, we're not sitting there scratching our head going, what on earth are we seeing right now? It's certainly across the board from both Wildcard and Order, just looking like a revitalized version of what we really thought they were going to achieve in stage one. Both of them, and the unfortunate side to it is, regardless of what happens around personal lives and, inside the team dynamics or the dynamics of the team, it is just good to see that teams are finding their way through the thick of it and really coming out the other side. And both of these teams, if they're able to really progress through stage 2, they may well be able to make a good run in stage 3. I just think right now, Dev, both of these teams are in such an unfortunate situation where outside of them playing themselves, where are they going to find the points? Because Q-Confirm are on their game, Seventh Heaven are on their game, Elevate 2, hold the thought, because Emo Rin is not wasting a second through Strip.
Live droned as well. Now this is Jim. Oh, he's going to catch out Nico, who's roaming downstairs. Nico has no clue, but at the moment isn't crossing this line of sight. Just to continue what you were saying, right? If Nico doesn't give away a free kill, oh, he's going to do it. There you go. Run across, my dude. Do it. Oh, is he QE peeking this? Oh, no, it doesn't. There you go. Emo Rin, 8-3 now. He's going to be happy with that. He's like, all right, my work here is done. So, Wildcard, like you said, where are they going to get points again, if not against Order? It's the same for both of these teams, right? These were the 7th and 8th place teams of APAC South Stage 1. And yeah, I think there is a valid concern to be had there.
Although we do have to put those concerns to the side now, because I guess all that matters is how this is going to really play out within the next 30 minutes, because points that are going to be much needed can be taken here. And Specker will still have a bit of a corner to play from and can actually peek from the left side. This is really dangerous. I mean, for a fact that Specker is the one player that will just balls to the wall, go for a peek. No questions asked. So, and just like that, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
It's just so thorough from Wildcard. That was so well played from Milo. They exposed the mirror position, but they didn't just assume that was that. They actually checked it. They took the advantageous fight, upside down repel, made sure to play the percentage game. Now, Order in a 3v5, yeah, you've got 2 C4s to play with, but your positioning is completely cut off. Like, Jack and Bailey are really cut off here, thanks to 2 players on Jacuzzi. Like, Wildcard even have redundancy for the Jacuzzi player, and now that Milo's gone down, it'll have to be Emo to hold down that side. Can he refrag? Doesn't matter, because Vinny's just going deep once again.
Yeah, just look at this. Talk about T's crossed, I's dotted. Not only does Vinny push in, Gio's just watching the perfect angle. The second anyone tries to swing, it's all but too easy. Bailey just Hail Marying a C4 out, doesn't connect really with anything, no damage. And this is looking like a completely different squad.
What a beautiful journey for Wildcard. A turbulent one. They've had their trials and tribulations, but my God, this Wildcard we are currently getting a taste of is, I think, just the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg for what this roster is capable of. They have been struggling last season playing with their manager Silex, as unfortunately Diesel, like, he didn't get any notice, right? He just had to go. And like bringing on Milo, on paper, a great player, but we didn't necessarily see that in the first couple days. Now, I know for a fact that Rousty's been pouring his heart into this team, into bringing them up. They've never had a coach quite like Rousty with his experience. And I think that between him and Milo, this is just such a new positive wave for Wildcard.
It's just the impact that, unfortunately, you don't always get to see the full impact of a coach, but right now, this is just the difference between Wildcard, even on Playday 1 and Wildcard now, it's night and day, Dev. It's night and it is just, it's a completely, like, honestly, if you were watching this right now, you'd be like, yep, this is Wildcard 2020. This is, this is the stage 1 that we expected. And even then, you'd be like, oh my God, this Wildcard's so aggressive, right? They're doing some pretty crazy things. So the impact that this coach is having, unbelievable. They're not to be underestimated whatsoever. And also the ability for Wildcard to capitalize on that change. Now, let's get into it. Because generally, we do see Clubhouse be defender-sided. Now, Order have a very tall task ahead of them. There is no doubt about it. And certainly, we'll want to... there's no freebies. There is absolutely no freebies. And probably no love lost between these two.
Well, I don't know, you say that, but there's definitely a lot of respect here between these teams.
Don't say that. No.
I'm sorry for not peddling. Yeah, I've got something fun for you. So, Guz tweeted out, waiting for Nico to post his POV of that wallbang shot on the timeline. And Nico replied 4 minutes ago, saying, just a little busy at the moment, Gus. Man's in the middle of an APAC South League game, right here, right now, and he's just going out and tweeting at Gus.
He's out here. Well, if there's one player that you'd expect some shenanigans from, it is most definitely Nico. Now, it is certainly time to dive deep on how Order are going to attack this site, because quite in similar fashion, Wildcard are bunkering down. Of course, the approaches are vastly different. First off, no Goyo, so no extra shieldy boys on that facet, but also Pat with the Yokais late rounds, you know that they can play a huge impact. There is no impact trick. No?
Okay,
what?
That was a bit strange. So they were trying to, I think they were trying to wait for the first Selma to detonate and then just impact trick the second Selma. Like using the whole of the first Selma so it's easier. Because otherwise you have to play really deep, like right under the hatch. And you're probably going to die to Nico. Like that's the strat that Order are playing for. But yeah, strangely, that second impact did not get the second Selma. And as a result, like the 4 impacts Wildcard brought to the board are wasted. Especially when that happens and Airco goes down.
Oh God, you love the chaotic mess that is right this second. Phase 3 of the round is taking place and Wildcard, they're taking names. They're not allowing them any access onto the site. Bailey might be an answer. I don't know, dude. Honestly, I don't even know what I'm watching anymore. This is not Wildcard. I am convinced they've just completely swapped out players.
That's it. This is Vinny playing like he used to, playing like he knows he can. He's now been taken down. In the 2v2, the diffuser has been picked up, or it will be in just a moment. Nico's going to go back for it. They're not actually going to go for the plant. They're going to try and go for the kill onto Milo. He's got to run away. Yeah, he didn't pick up the diffuser, bro! No!
You can
Nico!
You can see the moment
He
of realize.
So, in the North Star update, they changed it. So you have to manually pick up the diffuser by holding F instead of just walking over it. Because of that, Nico did not pick up the diffuser. He was not used to the new change. He didn't realize he didn't even have it.
Oh. It
And
was
it slips through their fingers.
it was the moment of realization for me. It was the moment of looking down at the ground and there being no prompt, and he realizes he has been betrayed. Oh no. This is really interesting though, to see Vinny on the Clash. That aggression that he's been showing all game, this is going to play into it wonderfully or horribly. It can only go one of two ways.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny because Vinny, like you said, he's just been playing so aggro all day, peeking everything, and yeah, it's been working. Can't really peek as much with Clash. No, so our good mate Sky just messaged me and reminded me of a cool little storyline with this game, which completely gone over my head, which is that Milo and Nico live together. They're housemates.
Wait, what?
And they're currently playing. Did you not know that? They're housemates. Like whenever I'm like having a chat to Milo, I can always hear Nico playing games in the background. I want to know how they're like playing in the same building and not like giving each other an advantage. Like obviously they're good mates, despite obviously coming up against each other. So they would make sure that they're doing everything to make sure that this is fair. But it's kind of funny. Imagine living in the same house. Like imagine the awkward kind of late night dinner after this match.
Staring across the table from each other as you eat Chinese takeaway. Like I can already see it. I don't know. I don't think they'd be eating. I don't think they'd be eating Chinese. I think they're both specimens. They are, you know, as some would say, they're pedigree humans. So I do. Oh, spec up. So close to copping that one there, but that's not going to happen.
A bomb has been located.
Moment of quiet now as Order start to shape up for this map control. Looks like to be a construction push. And so they're going to have to deal with a lot of this util on site, like that deployable shield. Ooh, Jack's got tons of info. That drone deep into cash. And Vinny started to realize this is the push that's coming through. So he's going to play aggressively as long as he can. Now, Nate does have something. I don't know if I can call that a breach, but it is something. It is ugly, but it is something. I don't think he can actually get inside even if he wanted to. He could try and shoot off some of the soft bit and make that a vaultable hole. But at the very least, he can deny some of the positions in sight from here.
It's when did Maverick tricking become
Ooh!
about an expression of art? That's massive to deny that Selma charge because there's no more left. They have no way through construction. They have the choke point and that is it. Vinny could sit there and just be an absolute pain in the backside, ensuring that there's no access. They're going to go down and try put pressure in stock here, Dev. Could this be the kill that turns the tide? Vinny finds it instead. What?
Well, he's been peeking all night long. Playing the shield won't stop that from happening. Now Milo's going to push right on through the smoke, take a few whiffs, and then take down Specker. And all of a sudden, this numbers advantage has flipped the switch. Vinny buys some time, but does go down eventually. And our Order are trapped in the kill box. They have to plant. Jack does have the diffuser. And now it's... Oh my god, it's over! Order lock it down. And they get their first round of attack.
So well played. So well played from Order. Honestly, did not expect them to be able to come out from that situation. You said it perfectly. It was a death box. They were stuck. I'm pretty sure the only move that they could have made was to run to CCTV, which even then, you don't really have a lot of options due to that butchered Maverick outside on the kennel's wall. That Maverick job was
touch
nothing
on that.
pretty.
I feel like it was intentional. You know, as weird as that sounds. I feel like Nate knew he was going to make it like a vaultable hole instead of like a full hole. So that was intentional. It was still disgusting.
Look, I also think as well, it probably didn't help that a shotgun had gone to town on it, so it looked uglier than it probably was. You know, it's the vast difference.
Yeah, if he had one of his teammates to like clear off the remaining soft bit of the wall, it wouldn't have looked so bad, but yeah, pretty ugly.
I wish I knew a good a good artist reference. I think you once mentioned, you know, the Van Gogh versus Picasso. Unfortunately, I'm not cultured enough to really know the difference between the two. But I feel like the difference in the jobs...
Picasso's the one where it's like all weird. Yeah.
So like,
Picasso's
are you
the one
Van
where
Gogh
it's
and
all
I'm
like
Picasso?
abstract and
Or...
stuff.
And Van Gogh's like...
Hey.
But isn't...
Van Gogh's
I'm
like
so
impressionist, I think. I'm gonna get crucified if I'm wrong here. But
I thought
think
he was
Van
the
Gogh's
one
like
that did all the
impressionist.
swirls. Oh,
Well,
man.
yes.
All right.
A lot of artists
We're
did
just-
swirls.
We've just done this on broadcast, Dev.
Swirls
There
is
a
what they
new rule.
teach you on day one.
There is a new... Well, guess what? I never went to art school, Dev. I apologize. I mean, you know, there's a new rule on broadcast. There's only one rule, and it's don't do live math on broadcast. And now it's don't
What
try
about
to
live
figure
art
out...
analysis?
No live art analysis ever. Ever.
One day we'll get some qualified casters on here and they'll know what they're talking about.
Maybe. Maybe.
So let's turn our attention to the round once again. So look, Wildcard failed cash, so they're going to just keep flipping over. After winning Church, Gym is unlocked and they're going to hold on as long as they can here to cash. Interesting setup, not fully reinforcing the wall into server rather from cash. Does leave Milo very exposed and he's going to keep peeking, hoping to play a bit aggressively off this position.
Is this a go until you die position? I feel like they don't really have the positions cut off. Jack Daddy, my goodness. I mean, that's an all or nothing play there, and he actually finds near but the all onto Jack Daddy. 1 HP is all that remains between him. One player coming up red now. Geo surely has to be aware of this. Looks down for a small second. But Order are really looking to put the pressure on, and Nico just finds the timing.
That's a good refrag, and Nico doubles down as well. The second trade from him does leave us in a 3-on-3 as Emo pulls back, abandons that position. Now, Order have the cash control that they wanted. They don't have a man advantage, and they're starting to be a little bit slim on utility. You start to look, and there's no nades left from Nate. Nico still has his hard breach charge, as does Nate have a little bit of ammo left in the torch. It's actually not going to go for it.
Instead to completely rotate away from the fact and open directly into logistics now. 2 players looking to drop. Emo Rin's there as well. Surely there's a pog mat underneath this, Dev. Surely that's going to be a free kill if I've ever seen one. And did I hear it?
A bomb has been located.
Oh, Jack Daddy doesn't fall for the bait, gets very close to the one under his second window, but that's a massive round for Wildcard. And if I'm not mistaken, that's match point.
That it is, Rob. What a showing from the team that was undoubtedly the king of OS for such a long time. And on the road to recovery, Order stands in their way. They are showing no mercy. Last time these teams played each other, Order won 7-5 in APAC South and 7-3 in OCN last stage. That was on this very map. Wildcard is ready to turn a new leaf in their careers and start to step up. Embrace the new playstyle and the new Wildcard way.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defended.
Right now, if you are any team that has been playing Wildcard recently, this would have to be a little bit alarming to see that a team that for so long has been methodical, has been calculated, has just turned on a dime. And again, we still will beg the question about where the points are going to come from when you've got, I mean, when you look at APAC South, what teams are you really picking to be in the bottom 4 at the moment? Like, Invictus just had an incredible showing against the Knights. Was OT, unfortunately they ended up losing. Seventh Heaven have been looking good. Q Confirm are looking on point. Maybe the Chiefs is probably where you're going to find some more points. But even then, Chiefs seem to put up good results against good Australian teams. So it really does beg the question, we're only in Playday 2. Where are the rest of the points going to come from to put you in a position to head to playoffs for Stage 2? That is really the crux of what Wildcard are going to need to face here. And Order as well, if you want to put it there.
We really are fortunate in APAC South that the league is very competitive. Like you just mentioned all 8 teams, and I can see all of them doing very, very well. Oh, nice pre-fire.
Jeez.
And I think that what's going to happen is we're just going to see, some teams are going to have bad days. As soon as a team lets their guard down, like for example, what happened with 7th Heaven tonight. They really dropped the ball against Q-Confirm. And that is going to rattle through on the standings. So if Order has a bad game later in the season and one that would be winnable, same for your teams like Invictus, Chiefs as well, these teams that we have high expectations of, if they start to drop the ball just one night, it's going to ripple through.
The perfect point to make on the butterfly effect we were talking about recently. If you think that a small little action that you make inside the actual server itself in any given round has a huge impact on the outcome, well, think about the larger standings. And then the questions do start to be really a little bit more brutal, honestly. And it might make a couple uncomfortable. Now, I mean, maybe not, but it's a very dangerous place to be droning out there, knowing full well that Wildcard have 2 C4s in the pocket. In fact, Nate's actually pulled away and so is Nico. Still, though, it is a game of hot potato when you are in kitchen, to which Milo might find himself on the receiving end of that impact trick right about now.
Oh, Milo does land one. Did that destroy the Selma? Still one left for Jack. But it doesn't matter, the hatch is open now. Comes down to the execute though. Surely this is going to be a challenge for Order to dig their feet in. Last time this bomb site went down to a one-on-one. Vinny takes down Bailey. Spec has found his way all the way deep into blue. Likely to feel some pressure now in a crossfire, but Nico's evened up this man count.
That's really big from Emorin because now that's all the pressure at blue alleviated. The only 2 players that have pushed in so far are in and around Moto. You can see they're all going to send it through the ash.
They're going ash
They're going
wall.
to try to go to the back of side, but they're not going to be allowed in. Jack Danny gets shut down by Milo and Wildcard. It's the resurgence that we've been waiting for and the performance that we've requested. They stand tall and they show themselves here on Playday 2.
We come full circle, Wildcard back in action, rejuvenated, reloaded, and ready to go. What a showing from the once kings of Oos, who did fall down and break their crown, but they are back and they are new and they are nothing like they were before. This new Wildcard, led by Milo at the top of the scoreboard, is certainly a team not to be underestimated.
Not at all. And now we are going to look forward, Dev. We are going to look to the upcoming matches for Wildcard because maybe teams were coming into this season expecting them to almost be free real estate, to be 3 points on the board, and it's just not going to be the case whatsoever. They are putting up a stand and they are standing strong. As for Order, though, oh how the Titans have fallen. They continue to fall down this slippery slope.
Yeah, and quite a convincing loss at that with the 7-3. Definitely not what the doctor ordered, but unfortunately it is a pill they're going to have to swallow. They did already have a really tough 7-3 loss to 7th Heaven in Playday 1, and what that means is so far Order are yet to even find a single point on the board here in APAC South League. They've definitely got a lot to look at, but I think that we can really just take a moment to acknowledge Wildcard and get excited for them. This new roster with Milo coming in for Silex, with Rousty now leading the team as a coach. The prospects of what this team can accomplish when they have some time to work on things is very exciting.
It certainly is, and I mean, that's going to do it here for the games. We're going to throw it back to the desk where all those little peanut brains are sitting who predicted Order. So enjoy. I'm sorry that I have the crown. Take care.
Very much happy for Wildcard, but I'm definitely not happy for Manic Monday there. That's put a little bit of a dampener to close the night, but all kidding aside, it is really monumental for Wildcard to walk away with this win, guys. They've deserved, obviously, a bit of a reprieve, a bit of, success after what's been, I guess, like the last 2-3 months, maybe 4 months. I don't know. It's been a while of some downtimes.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough for Wildcard, particularly in recent history, but I'm going to be a little bit of a dampener here. I'm sorry. I know the guys got really excited, but let's take a step back. Order finished second last season. They aren't an amazing squad by any stretch of the imagination. Yes, they've got really good players, but they've been going through their own troubles. Maybe my prediction was just really dumb, fundamentally, to be completely honest, because now I look a little bit silly in saying this. But, I mean, Wildcard taking them down, yes, it's a really great result, don't get me wrong, but I really need to see them take it up against good teams. They struggled against Invictus last week, right? They did not play very well at all. So we need to see Wildcard step it up against better opponents, and then we can actually say, well, hey, now they're actually resurging.
Yeah, look, it's good to see that I'm not the only one who is... Sorry, no, you minor issue with my tech side of things. But look, it's good to see that I'm not the only one wanting to play Devil's Advocate. Yeah, cool. They've improved. They're showing the signs of life that we wanted them to. But where to from here? Because it can't end with a victory over Order. They need to push on, take on the bigger teams, because otherwise it looks like it could be a flash in the pan.
Look, very, very harsh comments firstly from Guz.
Sorry,
That's all I'm going to say. Order's a good team. They've got some figuring out to do. They'll do that. Firstly, though, before we dissect it further, we are going to go and have a chat with one of my favorites, the ever handsome. It is Vince here. Look at that smile. It's a big one on his dial. It's been obviously some tough few months, mate, but this is a big win. Guz has basically said you just beat the caster stack, but I mean, Order's good. When Order's up and about, they're a good team, and you guys really just dismantled them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason they are in APAC South, and they're definitely like still one of the top teams in ANZ when they want to be, as they've said before. But you know, it's just a good result for us. We've needed some good results coming into this, and we've equaled our points tally from last season already. So it's only up from here, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that, so I'm glad you did. One thing I wanted to tackle into that the casters actually mentioned a little bit on the broadcast was actually Rousty jumping into the squad. Now, Wildcard for the longest time didn't have necessarily a dedicated coach. I mean, obviously you had Salix who was managing the roster, but now to have someone with so much coaching experience, is that having a noticeable impact on the team's performance?
Yeah, since we picked up Rousty, we've kind of had him on as a mental coach, and he brings so much experience, which I think is something that we've lacked for a little while. Somebody that can really just kind of dedicate themselves to the team rather than, you know, the analytics of rounds and analyzing how other teams are playing. And I think it's been a big thing for us, getting us in the right mental, especially after last season. People were in a rougher place than they are now, but it's put us in a really good stead for this season coming.
Now, look, you've got another couple of interesting matches ahead of you for APAC South. What's the game plan? What prep is going into it? How far down the line are you looking? Or is it a case of just take it day by day?
I mean, when you're playing two leagues at the same time, it's a bit like we're more focused on OCN for tomorrow night, to be honest. But yeah, we're usually looking just to the next team and focusing on preparing for whatever we have ahead of us, whether that's OCN tomorrow or after tomorrow, it'll be prepping for next week. We put a little bit more emphasis on APAC South, I guess, but at the same time, it's about just whatever game we have next.
Well, mate, I'm not going to keep you around for too much longer. As you said, OCN and is on the other night, so you are going to want to go and practice for that. Any final shout-outs before we let you go?
Just the same as always. Want to thank all the fans that have stuck by us, and we hope for more results like this.
Awesome. The way you're playing right now, especially off the back of your new recruit, Molosca, you guys look pretty good, mate. We'll chat to you next week.
Cheers, guys.
Well, it's a happy time in the Wildcard camp off the back of that win. And that's obviously us done for our games today. So now we can start dissecting, guys, and we can get into that. What did Manic say? Peanut brain? Something like along those lines. Something about a brain. Basically, you got a brain. Tell us about that matchup though between Wildcard and Order, because 7-3. That's a scoreline I certainly was not expecting.
Yeah, it was definitely much more dominant than I would have anticipated. I mean, at the end of the day, again, I anticipated Order to win this matchup, and I didn't think it was going to be, a blowout in that regard. I thought it would be close, but Wildcard at the end of the day came out of the gates really, really strong. We did see, again, a few mistakes from Order here or there. I mean, you had like the Nico diffuser jump, which was an obvious one, but at the end of the day, that wouldn't have been a round decider. Anyway, it was really just Wildcard stepping it up and amping it up to another level. The casters, again, mentioned it quite frequently. The aggression from Wildcard was like something we haven't really seen before. in the past, even when Wildcard were quote-unquote better and they were the Kings of Oast, they were a little bit slower, more methodical, and we only really saw them activate late round. But now, they're willing to just send it mid-round. If they see an opening, they are going for it, and I think that's a really good sign for their confidence.
I mean, yeah, it's not a case of, you know, it was just one team showed up in the day. Both teams showed improvements. It was just the disparity in the improvements that were shown. Wildcard just leaps and bounds above what Auto were able to bring today. And look, as much as you know, Manic can make his comments, he plays goalie in soccer and they're prone to head injuries. So as much as he might have the big brain, that's probably not the greatest sign, and he should see a doctor.
Yeah, let's go and have a look and see how everything wrapped up today. Of course, we had quite a few amazing results. It all started with QC and 7th Heaven, which, you know, 7-5 scoreline probably doesn't tell the full story, as it was a 4-0 start for 7th Heaven. From that point onwards, Q Confirmed brought it back. They ended up winning, 7 of the final 8 games there. And then the same thing happened as well for Chiefs and Elevate. 4-0 start for the Chiefs, and then 7-zip in a row for Elevate. And Guz, it wasn't until we got to tonight and Invictus Gaming where things changed a little bit.
Yeah, well, the first 3 games were in fact all on coastline and all quite wild. We did see it lean quite heavily into the attack, and teams really starting to mount comebacks in that second half. That third matchup, though, as you mentioned, it did get a little bit close, and probably in the end too close for comfort, especially for the Knights. As it went into overtime, they only won 2 points in that matchup out of a possible 3. And like I said earlier, we can't think too far into the future, but you would hate to see a result like that. 1 point really dictate who finished first in APAC South, as that is the position to auto qualify for the major.
Yeah, look, there was unfortunately we couldn't get the full 3 out of 4 wins here for ANZ, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad. You got to take that where you can, even though one of those was guaranteed. There's a lot to, you know, take away from this week. Obviously, vast improvements on the whole. Maybe some unfortunate steps backwards for some teams like 7th Heaven coming from week 1, but there's a lot to feel good about, obviously, going into week 3. And there are certain matchups that are going to ramp up from this point. And I mean, look, it's still anyone's game, honestly.
Let's go and have a look at my current favorite segment of this run of show. It is the caster predictions. I should be in first. I am in first. 6-2 is what I like to see. And then the other guy is 5-3. Manic, of course, coming in clutch with that wild card win, gets him into second place. But as we know, guys, I mean, second is basically the first last.
Yeah, look, that's why I'm saving my run to the end. I am the prediction king, so expect me to make a comeback just like some of the teams at the bottom of the standings will. As for tonight, a little bit disappointed that I didn't actually stick Wildcard. I thought Wildcard was going to be the meme pick, but it was not. Wildcard definitely strong in that regard, and honestly, the other results probably going the way they probably should have, so can't complain too much.
Yeah, look, as much as, you know, back the local boys, it's not like I didn't expect that there was a chance this is how it was going to be. Wildcard, they have looked just that little bit better than Order, so I'm not crazy surprised that they took out the win they did. Chiefs versus Elevate, a little bit disappointing on the whole, but it's a case of it's Elevate. They are a phenomenal team. They did close out stage 1 in the position they did. Like, they are just a phenomenal team, and look, it gives aspirations for some of the lower place teams at the moment going into the weeks ahead to keep pushing, keep motivated, and keep that drive going.
Just very quickly, Panda, what was your score tonight, just so we know?
Hey, I got 1 right.
Just wait, you went 1-3?
Yeah, look.
Oh, geez.
So still,
I was about to hype you up and say Ravens 1-7, and that we shouldn't invite him back, but you're on 1-3.
I'll take it.
Yeah, anyway, let's move forward to the standings and see how it all shapes up. Of course, we're only 2 play days into this stage, so, well, still in a few more days before it really takes shape, but Q Confirmed currently in first place. They are 2 from 2. All 6 points have been gathered for the Knights, of course. 3 points from Playday 1, 2 points from tonight. But guys, Invictus Gaming, they're rising back to the top here in APAC South Stage 2.
Oh, big calls from the Z-Dog, rising to the top. All right, I mean, they're still in third, but that is an improvement from Stage 1, so I can't fault you there. Looking above them, though, that's where I'm starting to get really excited. Q Confirmed, the only team at the moment to get maximum points. 2 regulation wins puts them on 6. The Knights just behind on 5. And guess what the head-to-head is next play day? It's Q Confirmed and Knights. That is such a huge matchup. If you're an Invictus 7th Elevate fan, for example, you are praying that next week Q Confirmed absolutely smash the Knights because the Knights are probably the best chance to overtake them at any chance. And again, if they win that matchup, they will. So, I mean, that's an even rabbit hole we could go down even further, right? Because if you confirm win that in regulation, then the other teams will struggle to catch them. But anyway, the TLDR is next week is going to be absolutely insane, like every week for APAC South.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like Knights are a bit of a bastion of hope for the ANZ region at the moment. But, I mean, if Wildcard can carry on the form that they brought tonight, no doubt in my mind that we could see 2 teams, if not potentially more, depending on how to choose round out the season, making that top 4.
Yeah, and I think that for me, looking forward to next week, it's not all about the top teams. I think even towards that middle section, you're going to have a pretty big matchup. Wildcard versus 7th Heaven, both on 3 points. So look to that, because whoever wins it, or at least gets 2 points at minimum, obviously rises to the top 4 and looks pretty good. Not quite halfway mark of the season, but pretty close to it by the end of next week. I guess we're into the final thoughts stage of our night, guys. So we'll go around our virtual desk and we'll get our final thoughts. We'll start with you guys.
Yeah, I just want to say tonight was really fun. Blue, thanks for joining us. It was awesome to have you on the show. Hopefully that's the last we see of Raven, but who knows, maybe he'll be back from wherever the hell he's gone, probably on a holiday somewhere. In terms of the matches though, another exciting evening. 3 plays on Coastline. Actually, I mean, it's a very generic comment to make, but I think that was honestly the story of the night, because it's not often we actually see Coastline played a lot these days, never mind with such high frequency. It was a nice change of pace, and I think we really got to see what some of the more aggressive teams, particularly being from an aggressive region, were able to bring to the table.
Yeah, look, as much as I could say what I've taken away, look, if you'd told me a year ago, hell, if you'd told me Tuesday morning that I was going to be on the APAC South desk by the end of the week, I would not have believed you. It's been an absolute pleasure. Some of the greatest teams in the region that I've had the opportunity to analyse and break down. And look, Braven, he's probably going to be back next week, unfortunately, but I'm hoping to be here again one day.
He's just said, unfortunately.
That's right, we agree with you. We agree with you. We'll get rid of Raven. We'll find a way. We'll find a way.
Thank you so much, Blue Panda, for coming on the broadcast. It was amazing to have you. You did an amazing job, and yeah, I'm sure at some point in the future you will be back. But that is us done for the night here for APAC South Playday 2. We're going to go for a week's break, but when we come back, we'll be back with Playday 3 in a week's time. We'll see you then.
In a week?